Decoded with Juice.
And we're back with another episode, an action-packed episode of Conspiracy Decoded. I'm your host, leader of the Counter-Strike Revolution. And once again, well, for the time being, junior heavyweight / cruiserweight, Juice Jennings. I want to start talking with this episode. I want to talk about something that is not something that we normally talk about on Conspiracy Decoded, but since it is about conspiracies, why the heck not? We're going to talk about the Oscars. Now, what is conspiratorial about the Oscars, you may ask? And I say, what isn't conspiratorial about it? I mean, it is all about the fat cats and the elites and celebrities and these people who are involved in God knows what. And then they all get together and they have these weird rituals and these weird get-togethers, assembly things, and there's symbology and symbolism and weird stuff that they do, and basically they just pat themselves on the back. And at the Oscars anyway, they present each other with golden idols and basically just talk about how great they are. We're talking about these are the elites. These are the villains of our society. These parasites that are coming for your very souls and your hearts and your minds. The very people that I'm trying to fight and educate you guys about. And at this show, the Oscars, well, let me just say this. No one cares about the Oscars, okay? Because going into this Oscars, they were having the lowest ratings they've ever had. No one cares. No one was watching. So this is where it all comes in. They had to make something happen and get people talking. And that's where we get to the Fresh Prince of Bel-Air slapping Chris Rock for making a stupid joke about his wife's hair. But guys, this is Conspiracy Decoded. And I'm telling you, it was all a work, baby. It was all a conspiracy. To get people talking about that, have them focus on that as opposed to all the clearly conspiratorial stuff that they're doing at the Oscars. We're talking about, and it may have been a Freemasonic humiliation ritual. I read up on that as well. Will Smith having to perform this humiliation ritual upon Chris Rock so they can ascend to the next level within this the hierarchy of the Freemasons, which I haven't really talked about on this show, but that's totally a thing as well. But that's just my take on it, and you're probably asking, what does that have to do with you, Juice? And my answer is it's all connected. Hollywood, pro sports, professional wrestling, politics. They're all rubbing elbows and they're all talking at these super secret parties, and they're all talking about one thing, and that's how to hold back Juice Jennings and stop me from taking my rightful place at the very tip top of the professional wrestling world. And aside from that, I haven't really figured out how this has to do with me. But I'm very sure that it does. Somebody knows somebody who's coming after the Juice Man. So at some point in the future, maybe I'll touch on this again after I do a little more research. But I'm telling you, Will Smith slapping Chris Rock totally has something to do with the conspiracy. Now, moving on to the next topic of discussion, I want to talk about the fallout of the event we had a few weeks ago in Seams, Alabama, when Combat Sport Pro had a joint event with the Alabama Wrestling Federation, and I had another shot, a shot at becoming a 2-time junior heavyweight champion, and that's what everybody was talking about, guys, before. Maybe that's why the slap happened, so that people would stop talking about me, once again, identifying at 205 pounds to come after the Cruiserweight Championship, because that's what I did. And if these folks wanted to avoid a discriminatory lawsuit, they had no other choice but to let me identify at 205, even though I weigh slightly more, and participate in this match to become a 2-time Cruiserweight champion. And they had stacked the deck against me going into it. I know we had talked about it before. It was a fatal 4-way, and I'm sure all three of these guys were all in on it together. Their plan of attack was probably to beat the crap out of me and take me out. So then I wouldn't be a thorn in the side of the tyrannical overlords anymore. But I had a game plan. I was coming in. I knew exactly what I was going to do. But then they switched it up on me again. They turned the fatal 4-way into a fatal 5-way. Now I had 4 other guys to fight, and this totally threw me for a loop. But I still persevered, and I used the biggest, strongest muscle I got, and that's the one between my ears. That's my big, sexy brain. And I said, this is an elimination match. There's no rules. There's no count-outs or anything. So I'm not even going to get involved. I'm not even going near that ring. So I took a seat in the crowd for a while. But then I'd sit next to those smelly Alabamians. I had to get out of there. So I went over to the concession stand, checking what they had over there. All this overpriced stuff that I didn't want. And then George Brooms comes over to me because he's out there. And he's like, Juice, you got to get in the ring. And I was like, I'm not falling for your games, George. I got all night. They gave this match a 60-minute time limit for some godforsaken reason. And I was willing to eat up every second of that time limit if that's what it took for me to have an advantage and walk out with that championship. But eventually I did get involved. I got involved, and then the guys started dropping like flies. And before I knew it, the Juice Man was one of the final 2 remaining. It was me and this kid named John Breslin, some redhead comic book nerd. So we went at it, and I had him right where I wanted him. But then the conspiracy got me again. And John Breslin walked out the brand new junior heavyweight champion. So at this point, guys, I'm going to unidentify as a junior heavyweight. I have no need to do that anymore. I'm back as a heavyweight. Back rocking and rolling at 233 pounds of green-eyed rock and roll. That's what I'm going to do. So moving forward, I got big plans in Combat Sport Pro. The junior heavyweight championship is not one of them. You'll just have to stay tuned and see what's happening. But what is happening, what's coming up very soon, this Saturday, in fact, is I'm going back to Revolt Pro. The stinkiest, most conspiratorial place there is, as I've talked about in the past over and over again, because I've been going there for a long time, guys, years and years. Many, many times have I walked through the curtain at Revolt Pro, and still, I have never secured a victory in this dirty, disgusting, conspiratorial, corrupt company. It's garbage. It's horrible. But this is it. I can really feel it. April 9th, I'm walking in, the Juice Man, and I don't even know what I'm doing. They won't even tell me. That's how bad the conspiracy's gotten. I don't even know who I'm wrestling or what's going on or what I'm doing. I can't even form a game plan, but that's okay because I have the righteous power of anti-conspiratorial truth with me, and I'm going to utilize that power when I walk in to the Gulf Coast Music Hall this Saturday night to face somebody I don't know. I'm sure it'll be a pawn of the conspiracy that I'll be wrestling or working against. But this is it. It's totally happening. Just call me the Great Juice Bino. I'm calling my shot. I'm walking out with the W. I'm going to get the winner's purse, and then I'm going to go paint the town red in Foley, Alabama. What is there to do in that town anyway? I actually don't know. I think there's a McDonald's there. I usually get out of town as soon as I can. But that's what's going on. One last thing I want to talk about is I do want to send some positive vibes and some well wishes to Ryan Ocean, a guy we've talked about on the show a few times in the past. If you go back and listen to the episode where I talk about him probably being a North Korean MK Ultra sleeper cell agent, I have since changed my mind on that. That's probably not the case. In fact, we even joined forces, and I joined forces with him in the heavyweight party to fight the dirty, stupid, flippy-floppy cruiserweights on a couple occasions as well. So he just had some discs in his neck fused, so I want to wish him well wishes. But Ocean, since you have been involved with me in the past, you should probably check those x-rays. There's a very good chance they might have thrown a microchip in there. So with that being said, this is the end of this episode of Conspiracy Decoded. The Oscars Academy, you guys are corrupt. The Juice Man is on to you. And don't forget, it ain't a coincidence. It's a conspiracy, Daddy!